Good afternoon, students. As we have finished the story, The Suitor and Papa, in our last class we discussed some of the RTC or reference to the context. That means some of the extracts from the text, and as well as we discussed the answers. So today we shall be talking about or discussing some of the textual questions. So as this class is purely revision class, so instead of giving you the answers in PDF format, I would like to discuss some of the questions, textual questions, as well as the answers orally, not in PDF format. So later on, if it will be convenient, I shall be trying to give you the answers in PDF format. So for the time being, that let's discuss the questions. So as you can see in your textbook, that the first question is why did Peter's friend ask for a steak party? The very first question, that is, why did Peter's friend ask for a steak party? So what will be the answer for this question? So at the very outset of the story, as we come to know that one of Peter's friend asked for a steak party to Peter Petrovich Milkin. So in answer we can say that Peter's friend was asking for steak party because he came to know that Peter was getting married, or Peter was preparing to get married. So that is why he expected that Peter would throw a steak party very soon. So that is why Peter's friend asked for a steak party. So that is the answer for this question. The next question, as you can see in your textbook, that I have already given you in PDF format, the text of this story. When did Peter realize that everyone expected him to marry Nastya? So this is the second question. Again, the question asked us that when did Peter realize that everyone expected him to marry Nastya? So for the first time, when he came to know that people were spreading rumors that Peter Petrovich Milkin was expected to be a suitor for Anastasia Kirillovna or Nastya Kondraskina, he did not come to know about that. He did not come to know about this rumor until and unless he was asked for a steak party by one of his friends. So when one of his friends asked for the steak party, and his friend disclosed it that everyone was expecting, or everyone or everybody knew it very well, that he was getting married with Anastasia Kirillovna, then only Peter Petrovich Milkin came to know that everyone was expecting him to be a suitor, and everyone expected him to marry Anastasia Kirillovna. So in reality, that was a rumor actually. That was not the reality. In reality, Peter, as I already told you, that Peter did not have such an intention of marrying Anastasia Kirillovna, or he himself did not know that he was expected to be a suitor. But it was just because of the rumor that had been spreaded by people. Because he had been spending a lot of time with the Kondraskin family. Even the Kondraskin family itself expected Pyotr to be the suitor for the girl called Anastasia Kirillovna or Nastya Kondraskina. So at that moment only, the answer could be written like that. That at that moment only, that when Peter's friend asked for the steak party, he came to know that, or he realized that he was expected to marry Nastya or Anastasia Kirillovna. Even the Kondraskin family itself, even the father of that girl called Kondraskin, expected Peter Petrovich Milkin or Milkin to be the suitor or to marry that girl. So one more question, that is the third question, as we can discuss. Why did Kondraskin allow Peter to come to his house and meet Anastasia? So after going through the story, as we have come to know that Pyotr Petrovich Milkin had been spending a lot of time with Kondraskin family, that many a time that he dined with the family, many a time that he brought a lot of gifts to the girl called Anastasia Kirillovna, and many a time he used to go for a walk with Anastasia Kirillovna alone. So that simply shows, means whatever behavior or what kind of behavior that Pyotr was showing to the family, and that it was very obvious, it was very distinct that definitely Pyotr Petrovich Milkin was courting Anastasia Kirillovna, and very soon he would propose Anastasia Kirillovna to get married with him. So as the question is here, that why did Kondraskin allow Pyotr to come to his house? Means Pyotr was allowed to come to the family and dine with them. Means he was allowed to spend time with the family. So what was the reason, or what could be the reason behind this allowance, or behind this permission, that he was permitted to come and he was permitted to spend a lot of time? So there may be a reason behind this permission. Now we shall be talking about this reason, that Kondraskin allowed Pyotr to come to his house and meet Anastasia, because his behavior was showing, means Milkin's behavior was showing, or Milkin's behavior was revealing that he would definitely marry the girl Anastasia Kirillovna, or whatever behavior he was just showing to the family. So it simply disclosed that Pyotr Petrovich Milkin was falling in love with the girl called Anastasia Kirillovna, and he would marry the girl called Anastasia Kirillovna. That is why maybe it could be one of the reasons that Kondraskin allowed him to come to his house and spend a lot of time. Besides, Kondraskin himself wanted his daughter Anastasia Kirillovna to get married with that young man called Milkin, or Pyotr Petrovich Milkin, because means he had, the Kondraskin family had 7 daughters, and Kondraskin family wanted at least one daughter to be married off to a young man, because maybe another reason that the family, Kondraskin family, was searching for or looking for suitable young man to marry off to their daughters. So when they took it to be, means Kondraskin, means Milkin was taken to be one of the opportunity that Kondraskin family wanted him to be a suitor for one of their daughters, Anastasia Kirillovna, because his behavior showed that, and that is why for this reason Kondraskin allowed Pyotr Petrovich Milkin to come to his house, to dine with them, okay, to spend a lot of time, and many a time that his behavior showed that, or his behavior revealed that very soon Pyotr Petrovich Milkin would propose to that girl called Anastasia for marriage. Okay, so that is the answer for this question, and many more questions we are having. One more questions today we shall be discussing, that is, why did Fitwev refuse to certify Pyotr as mad despite being his friend? So at the end of the story we come to know that Pyotr Petrovich Milkin went to one of his doctor friend to get a certificate which will prove him to be a mad or insane, means which will prove his insanity or madness. Means when Pyotr failed to convince Kondraskin that he was not suitable for Anastasia Kirillovna, when he was helpless, that when all his excuses and all his reasons for not marrying Anastasia Kirillovna were rejected, that having no idea at all, that he simply went to a doctor friend and wanted a certificate which would certify him to be mad, and that was the last option, or that was the last reason he had with him. But unfortunately he was refused, or means Kandraskin was not given, Milkin or Peter Petrovich Milkin was not given any certificate by his doctor friend. Simply Dr. Fitweb refused to give him a certificate. The reason is that when Peter Petrovich Milkin explained or related everything, that why he wanted a certificate, proving himself to be, or showing himself to be a mad or insane, because he related that he didn't want to marry a girl called Anastasia Kirillovna, and he simply wanted to get rid of that girl or get rid of that family. So, according to Dr. Fitweb, that he could not certify a man to be mad who did not or who doesn't want to marry a girl. So rather he is mentally healthy. He could not be mentally ill or he could not be mentally insane. So he simply refused to give him a certificate. According to Dr. Fitweb, that Milkin was not a mad or Milkin could not be an insane, as he did not want to marry a girl. Rather, he advised Milkin to come to him or come to Dr. Fitweb to get his certificate only when Peter wanted to marry, or Peter would marry, or Peter would prepare himself to marry a girl. So that would be the right time to come for him for his certificate, to get his certificate. So right at that moment that he could not give any certificate to Peter Petrovich Milkin, because he didn't want to marry a girl, according to Dr. Fitweb. So that is how we can write down the answer for this question. So 4 questions we have discussed, as well as the answers in this class, and in our next class we shall be discussing the rest of the questions. Thank you.